How's it going today, everybody? Well, I figured I'd do another live stream here in the daylight this time, then you might actually be able to see something of what's going on that way instead of just the darkness like the other night. So Alberta, eh? What's the weather like out there today? Fairly nice or what? Scotland. What's the weather like in Scotland today? Paradise Hill, eh? What kind of combine headers? John Deere ones, or Case, or Macdons, or Svengla Sweden? Svengula. How do you say that? Spreading slurry for silage. It's nice and windy here too. Yesterday we had about 2/10 of rain, so I didn't get much cultivating done yesterday, but there's a muddy spot. How many acres do you farm? Right around 2,000. Did I find the shovel I lost? No, I didn't, and we even harrowed that field, so I guess it'll sprout in the it'll sprout when we put some fertilizer out there. I guess maybe we'll grow a few more that way. What's everybody else up to in the world today?
You keep your mind right and all the great things that you've accomplished this week. Here's Alabama.
Sprouting a back tire. Yeah, that'll be what it'll end up in, but hopefully it's a tire on the anhydrous caddy that we rent, and then it won't be our money spent on fixing the tire that way. All kinds, mostly damaged and burnt and bent. Oh yeah. Oh, liberals here in Canada, I think, are about the same boat as your American ones. They're not very fucking smart. Big liberals everywhere that way. They're all head shoved up their ass a little bit too far. What's Antoine up to? He's actually, I've got a video I was working on that's going to be for tonight like usual, but he is out harrowing right now. He was harrowing behind me as I was cultivating, but 70 feet of harrows kind of catches up to 35 feet of cultivator fairly quickly. So he got done everything that I had cultivated, and now he is harrowing on my pea stubble from last year, and probably going to work on his canola stubble as well, because all three fields are together there in an L, so he's probably going to harrow on all of them until I get this done, and then he'll probably come here and harrow this to seal it up and spread it around and smooth it out. So trying to take over our country. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do here too. They even gave us a nice carbon tax, so we get to pay extra for everything now thanks to them, so that's really appreciated. What does your father do while you and Antoine farm all day? Well, he is he's a heavy-duty mechanic, works on cats and semis and track hose and things like that. And then he also, in the springtime, helps one of his friends. He runs an air seeder for him, so that's what he keeps busy with anyway. Well, and then you see the rest of the stuff he does, so. What's the next job for the 5010? Well, I actually went over to start him and make sure he was in a good mood. And I might put him on the harrows, I'm not sure yet, but I'll probably put the 5020 on them for this evening. And the next real job for the 5010, I'm going to put him on the disc. And I've got a few strips in one field where they rebuilt the road beside it. And they used clay from the hilltops in the field. And then put the dirt back, so I'm going to go disc that to loosen it up, because it's packed really friggin' hard right now from the cat going back and forth across it in buggies. So that'll be his next real job anyway. There's a few people that grow corn, but not very much. It's not the right growing seasons up here for it. There's not enough time. You always end up in the snow trying to combine it, so it's not the right country for that stuff. So I've got 47 acres on this piece, and then I've got 17 acres across the way over there to do. I'm a ways into this piece already, so it won't be too long of a day to get all this done. So what am I going to be seeding here? This is going to be canola on this land here. So until we start seeding, I'm probably going to try, well, not really try, I'm probably going to start my peas on the 4th or 5th of May here. Will be when I start. If everything goes according to plan, if it's too wet or something, it might be a little bit after that, but we'll play it by ear and see how it goes. So. How many horsepower is the girl pumped up to? As far as I know, it's never been touched, this tractor. And back before we had the 835, before my time, Dad and Grandpa had a 4640. That was the big tractor. And that was in the mid to early 90s, I guess. And they actually had it on a dyno the one time. Grandpa brought it in to get a green light service done on it. And on the dyno at 2100 RPM, it made 185 horsepower. And then while under load and pulled down from 2100 down to 1650 RPM, it was putting out 245 horsepower at the PTO. So I'm gonna say this guy's probably in the same ballpark. Because like I said, right now we're pulling 35 feet with 16-inch shovels about 2 or 2.5 inches deep here at 7.5 miles an hour. And that's about the ballpark of where the 835 sits comfortably, and he's about 260 or 265 horse since I opened it up. So they're going to be in the same ballpark. I know this one here, it puts up a hell of a fight when you hit a hard spot, but obviously it doesn't have the cubic inches that the 835 has. So it will power out quicker, but I mean it's doing a good job. Do you have a favorite deer to run? My favorite one to run, and always will be the 5020. That's if I could only farm with them or just farm with them, I probably would. So I would welcome a little dust up here. Probably be July before things dry out. Where is that? Where it's not going to be dry till July. What's the next tractor you want to buy or have on the farm? I hope it's another deer. I think an 8440 would be amazing. Well, a story about 8440, back to when we used to have the old 46. Before Grandpa bought the 835, he demoed an 8440. And the 8440 had 18.434 tires on it. And a smaller engine and everything, and you did, I forget, he figured it out now, but however many acres an hour less than buying the 835, and the 835 had, well, an 855, so 14 liter Cummins, quite a bit more than the 466 in the 8440, so he went with it, and they've been versatiles ever since then. So, but the next thing I would like to buy, I kind of said in the last live stream there, would be a 98, 80, 82 or 84, or like a 2375 or a 375. And yes, I know the 98, 80s have larger engine, but regardless of which, I wouldn't mind the 375 either. For what I do, it would be good. But 57 fitter, how's it going? Kentucky, nobody in the fields here. There's not many people in the fields here yet. Well, I wouldn't be either if I wasn't trying to smooth this out a little bit, but well, we'll see you in a half an hour there, Mark V8 diesel. Anyway, that's what's up right now. There's the yard right there. This is where we tried to harrow there the other night. You can see the lumps yet. I'll have to come back and burn them after. But Dwight Menzies, how's it going today? Yeah, I like the 5020. They got good power. They handle like a Cadillac, and they're easy on fuel. Like I pulled this Culivator with it before too, and I mean it's got its ass loaded, but it pulls it. You wouldn't be going near this fast, but I mean it pulled it. So 3130. I've never had anything to do with those European ones like that, so. How much horsepower is the 5020? Never had it on a dyno, but I know they're supposed to be 235, and the very last of them were 240, or 240, 135, and the last of them were 140. But it's getting to be time for this one to have his engine rebuilt. It's starting to get a little bit weak. Consider buying a newer Versatile? Yeah, I would love a new Versatile. If you're gonna buy a new tractor, you'd be out of your mind to buy anything else other than the Versatile. Nicest cab in the industry. You've got that big Cummins engine, that awesome cat power shift transmission. They're simple to work on, and they're, you know, a decent price. You look at what you're getting for a machine, and you compare the price to what Deere wants for the equivalent, it's unreal, the difference. Have I ever owned one? You mean like a newer Versatile or what? Is the 5020 turbo? No, it's not, and it never will be, so. A John Deere power shift tractor, yep, the 4840 we had before we bought the 2188. That's what Dad had bought when I started farming, and I used it on my 1682, and it was an 8-speed power shift in it, and it was okay, but for on the combine you didn't have enough gears. You jump from second to third and gain a full mile an hour, and that's a lot when you're trying to run a combine. So something with the 15-speed power shift would have been way better. But did Dad get the bulldozer going yet? He's got it all back together and started on his improvements or modifications to it there. But like I said, he's gone out to Alberta till tomorrow to visit my sister where she lives. So he hasn't done much on it while he's been gone. There's the old 700 if anybody wants to buy a four-wheel drive tractor. 30 and a half, 32s on it, in fairly good shape, but it's I think it needs a head gasket is what's wrong, so she's sitting for a while because I don't really need it right now. So oh, he's not allowed to take holidays. I think he'll tell you to go to hell, so. really nice out today actually, so about time. Well, this is about how it should be, honestly, for this time of year around here, so yeah, I would buy a 4960 for sure. They are really rare around here though, so those big row crop track, two-wheel drive tractors like that were never real popular around here, because there's four-wheel drives are the thing. There's never really anything that big for two-wheel drive around here. Was never really that popular, so I did hear about the Kubota thing. Okay, I'll try and clear that up for you guys too. What the deal is with Versatile and Kubota is it's not Kubota tractors or Versatile cabs on Kubotas. Kubota hired Versatile to build them, or not really hired them, but it's Versatile tractors, and Kubota is rebranding them as Kubotas because they wanted to get into the bigger tractor market. But since they don't have their own engine that's capable of making that kind of horsepower, instead of spending the money to go through the emissions trials and getting one of their own motors set up so that it can be meeting their emissions standards, they just got Versatile to build tractors for them. And then that way it's an engine that everyone's familiar with, being a Cummins motor versus whatever it is that Kubota's running theirs. So that is what the deal is with them. So kind of like I believe it's John Deere and Lever, however you pronounce that, with their cats. John Deere cats are Levers, but they're just repainted. So okay, I know Kubota has their own engines, but for the Nemesis series of tractors, they are Cummins motors, because it's all it is a Versatile tractor with an orange paint job. So okay, that's Dwight Menzies will know more about that than me, but I knew there was some sort of a deal like that with John Deere anyways, so back in the day. No, there's no chickens right now. They're all hanging out in their shed. I'm only going to do a video a week on them because it's not the most popular on the channel, so I'm not going to flood it with things that only half of you really want to see, so sell the chickens. Yeah, I sell almost all of them to neighbors and friends and other people. I only usually keep about 20 for myself. I don't need 350 chickens to eat, so. Hello from Italy. How's it going in Italy today? Do I have any experience with New Holland combines? Yeah, lots of experiences with them, and they've all been terrible, so. Have ever been to the States? Yeah, I've been to Alaska, and I've been to North Dakota, and then I went out to Ontario once, so we went through Michigan, and I don't know, a couple other ones like that, just driving through, so. Free range chicken nuggets. Raise any turkeys? I was going to get a few, but I couldn't get them on the same day as the chickens, and it's an hour-and-a-half drive to where you pick the baby chicks up at, so I didn't want to go a week later to get them. And then when I got them butchered, they'd be a week later than the chickens again, so it would be another week later again, and yeah. What's the combine of the lean-to? No, it's not a 1660, it is a 915 International. It's a 1978, I believe, and I'm working on a video of it because it's probably sold. So I want to get a video of it before it leaves, so there's a few of you that have been curious about it, so. There's the air seeders, both ready to go, just waiting for the right day to come along. I gotta get that grain dryer out of the way. But, do I follow any other popular agri channels? Yeah, Millennial Farmer, he's probably one of my favorites anyways. How Farms Works. Northern Farmer, he's way up there. Well, you know, he's probably, I mean, I don't miss a video of his. Mr. John Deere, I watch his. And, see, who else is there? 10th Generation Dairy Farmer. And then there's a whole bunch of different channels that I follow other things about. Haggerty for muscle cars, used to be Motor Trend until Roadkill left, so I don't watch them anymore. And then I follow quite a few gaming channels and other things like that. So you remember I was talking about how there's a gravel seam with rocks. You can see all the rocks here on this hill. This is right on the edge of the gravel seam of what's farmable and what isn't. So it's right along here where that seam runs through the field, comes out of the yard there and around, and then follows the lane. But oh, Welker Farms, oh, how did I forget about that? I watch all those videos too. One Lonely Farmer, I don't watch any. I'm not, I don't know, I don't really like how he presents some things. I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea, but different strokes for different folks, right? But yes, I watch Welker Farms. I really enjoy watching the restorations of the big buds like that, so. And their farming really isn't much different compared to ours, because fuck, they're just over there a little ways, so. Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts? There's no Dunkin' Donuts around here, so it's Tim Hortons for sure. Make a stone picking vid. Yes, Dad. When you get home, you can make one picking rocks. Loaf is a little rough around the edges. Yeah, you can. That's one way to put it, but comic relief. McDonald's or KFC? Well, that's kind of comparing apples to oranges. They don't really have chicken at McDonald's, so. But if I had to pick, probably Wendy's. Actually, the place to get the best bucket of chicken around here is actually from A&W, even though they're real shitheads with their saying Canadian beef isn't good enough and banning or saying they don't use antibiotics and all that kind of horse shit. But that piece done. You can see where it's making lumps like that. If you remember when we were combining soybeans there, the one day it rained a little bit and then the sun came back out after and the grain was dry but the straw was tough. And you can see those spots because it didn't chop the straw worth a fine feathered fuck, so it really shows up now. Yes, Dad, I know you missed the 1086. Dad, he was always very fond of 1466s and 1586s. Those are his favorite tractors, so if any of you want to talk about how good internationals are, he's the guy to talk to, so. Especially with loaders on them. That was his favorite thing to do, is put loaders on them and try and carry a bale at a time with them and see how long spindles would last. It was kind of a game that he had, so. Does the wife drive tractor? Yeah. She doesn't really come from a farming background, but the few years we've been together, she's learned a lot. Last year she was running the 2188 while I was trucking, running the combine, and she's picked rocks quite a bit before, and she's drove this tractor quite a bit too. She's never cultivated or anything, but she's disked before with the 4440, and yeah, she does quite a bit, so. And usually when we're picking bales, she'll drive the truck and trailer and follow me around from place to place. If there's only 4 or 5 bales here and there and there's a few miles in between, she'll follow, so. Acres, you need to be a full-time grain farmer in Saskatchewan. There's a lot of different answers to that one. It depends on what you're going to try to do. If you're going to try to farm with just second-hand machinery, and yeah, it's hard to answer that. I mean, I don't have anything that's new other than the grain vac, and I've got a hard time making ends meet sometimes, even with a couple thousand acres. So it all depends, I guess. One of my uncles there, he farmed for the longest time. He only had 4 quarters of grain and then a few head of cattle. So it just depends on what you're doing, I guess, or where you are, and what the prices are like. So. Good man, Ivan. 10 degrees here in Kentucky. Just picked up another 4955. Needs a paint job. Are you available? Hey, I'll paint it for you. It won't be till this winter, but I would definitely paint it for you. What's your favorite Canadian beer? I don't drink beer. Don't like the shit at all. I'll have whiskey and Coke is what I'll have over that. So. Want more views? At girls. Ha ha ha. Yeah, everyone's gonna be shocked now that I don't drink beer. Dad does. He'll have one with you, I guess, if you want, but never been my kind of thing, so I'd much rather have a glass of sweet tea over coffee also, but good, I'm not the only one then. Why doesn't he show up in videos much? Because he's usually not around when I'm making a video. He's at work usually, so usually when you do see him in a video is when he's it's a weekend or something along those lines, or I guess after work when he gets home, but usually he's in the yard too, so if I'm out in the field like this, you won't see him, but he's shy. Yeah, that's Mark. Maybe that's what it is. You can see how much it's drying up. When I started this here yesterday morning, there was water across that whole thing. Now it's down to just that little puddle. So ever have a John Deere 4320? Nope. We've never got into that series of them. They've been 4020, 5010, 5020, and then kind of skipped ahead a little ways. Grandpa had a 4630 and then the 4640 and then to the 835, and then I bought this 4440 a couple of years ago, and then this. So Mountain Dew, yeah, I'm not a real big Mountain Dew guy. Coke, what I'll have, but what's Antoine up to? He's out harrowing with the 4440 down east of here, ways on my pea stubble and his canola stubble. There's about 400 acres there all together between the three of them to harrow, so you know, if fucking Trudeau wasn't so goddamn dumb, this whole thing between Trump and us, I don't think would ever happen. If the fucking idiot actually knew how to handle such situations. I wish we had a Donald Trump up here. Get things straightened out a little bit and actually care about his own people a little bit. But what the annual rainfall is? Whew, that's a hard question to answer too. Oh man, I'd have to look that up. I don't know. I could try to give you an answer, but it'll be wrong. Yeah, that's hard to answer because we've got snow and everything else, and a foot of snow is the same as an inch of rain, so yeah. I don't know, if I had to wager a guess, I'm gonna just say it. That's probably wrong. You could Google it, I guess, if you wanted to. You look up average rainfall for southeast Saskatchewan, but I'm gonna say between 20 to 30 inches a year. That's probably wrong, but that's right, Dwight. Well, 14 there too when I graduated. That was the big flood there in July, and we had whatever the hell that was, like 10 inches overnight, and everything flooded. So there's years like that. The average is a lot more. I was lazy yesterday and only did 2 headlands, and I need 3 to get turned around, so I'll just drive back to where we were here and get going back and forth again. We just have this little square left behind the yard here, so raining in Nova Scotia. You probably got the weather we had yesterday. My theory there, it made it to you by now, so sort of a GPS. It's just a light bar guidance, and I'm trying to learn how to use it because I want it for p-rolling. Sometimes in the sunny part of the day you got a hell of a time trying to see where you have or haven't been when you're going back and forth, so it'll help you to hold the line so you don't stray off and leave a 50-foot miss or overlap by 50 feet, because you got to pay by the acre for rent on that thing. So, because I don't own my own, and I'm not going to buy one unless I found a smoking deal on one. Don't do much fall tillage because it's usually so dry in the fall that the ground's like cement and you just end up making big clumps of fucking dirt. And the only real thing we'll do in the fall is maybe go around and burn the odd slough and work it with the disc, or harrow. I usually try to harrow everything in the fall. It breaks the stubble down and drags it around, gets a nice even layer all the way across the field. So that's about all we'll do in the fall, unless of course I've got breaking. Last year I worked it up after just to try to make the dirt a little bit fluffier so I got better soil to seed contact. What am I listening to? I'm listening to Octane. I don't know what this song is. I've never heard it before, but if you want to listen to the deer, here I'll open the door for a minute for you. All the dust is blowing in here, so How many horsepower? Well, we kind of went over this earlier, but at 2100 RPM, they're 185 horsepower, and under load at 1650, they're 245. And yes, a chrome stack is coming in the future, hopefully for harvest time. I want to have a straight chrome stack with a rain cap on it, not a curved pipe like the 44s. So. Well, I got to try to find the right one. I haven't seen any yet that I like. So. Live chat at 3 in the morning. Maybe this fall when I'm swathing canola and I'm running around the clock, but good morning from Australia. I've got a great uncle that lives in Australia. I believe by Sydney is where he is, so I don't know where that is in correlation to where you're at, but oh, there's lots of good music on XM radio. FM and AM's kind of gone to hell, but on XM, you usually find something worth listening to. If I don't have music on, I'll fall asleep, so. And the nice thing about XM is if you got a channel you like, you can go anywhere and it'll still pick it up. FM though, you drive from here to the next field and you lose the station. And AM, well, all it is up here 90% of the time is church or baseball, so that is okay for a little bit, but that gets tiring after a while. Okie music. What is Okie music? Yeah, AC/DC. I like AC/DC, but I like a little bit of everything. So. I did winter wheat a couple of years ago, and that had been 2 years ago at home here, but it's usually, well, this year, when you're supposed to seed it, it was trying to fucking snow and everything else, and usually just don't have time trying to combine, and then you got to try to get the air seeder ready. It's just hard to make it work out sometimes, but yeah, there is quite a bit of winter wheat around here anyway. Land prices are all over the place in Canada. It depends on where you are. Out in Ontario, it'll be $20,000 an acre, and out here it's about $250,000 a quarter. But you drive to Regina 2 hours away from here and it doubles again. So. No, I'm not cutting back on canola acres. I always grow the same amount of crop, like the same amount of acres of each crop each year, regardless of what the price is. Keeps the rotation straight that way, and it's not very often that low prices last for, you know, 2 years worth. Like if it's low one fall, usually by the next fall it's got itself sorted out. And it doesn't cost anything to keep grain in the bin either. Sit on it till the next year. You don't always need to sell everything, so. St. John Baptist, no, I have not been there before either. I've been to Italy. I've toured everywhere in Italy. Rome, Venice, Florence, Frankfurt, Germany. Oh, you're back, Mark. Good hunting where you are. Yeah, there's quite a bit of different things you could go and hunt, but I don't do it too often. I'll go whitetail hunting in the fall sometimes, but if I got time. How does XM work? I've got that little doohickey right there, and you phone Sirius and you get it activated after you bought your radio. I've got one wire plugged into the radio and the auxiliary. It'll also transmit in FM, and then outside on the roof there's a little tiny antenna about that big, just a little magnet that you stick on the roof, and then there's 300 different channels of anything you could ever want to listen to, so I love it. So on the way to Winnipeg. No, I've never been there. Don't go to Winnipeg very often, so haven't been there for I bet you 5 years now, so. Listen to Ozzy's Boneyard. Okay, I will for a second. We'll see what's on there. Motley Crue. Have you seen The Dirt yet? The documentary on Motley Crue? I went to them live on their last tour when they were going around, but I'll have to look into that. Thanks for the info. Yeah, well, it's worth it. I got it right now. I got the radio for free from them because I activated the radio in my truck, and it's $60 for a full year. So not too bad. And then they sent the free radio, and the radio they sent had 3 months for free, so that's what I'm listening to right now, is the 3 months for free on it. So Def Leppard, yeah. Grow any mustard? No, I don't, but Grandpa used to. Like, not this Grandpa, but the Grandpa who's still alive. He used to grow lots of mustard, and he always tries to talk me into growing it, but it's a real pain in the ass to grow. There's wild mustard. One person did here, and yeah, it didn't work out the best for him. But how many days does canola take to mature? Oh, shit. Oh, man. Everyone keeps asking me questions I don't know the answer to off the top of my head. I'm going to take a shot again here. I think it's around 100 to 110. Sunflowers? Yeah, there's people that grow flowers around here, but I'm not going to do that either. I'll stick with normal things that are easy to deal with. Easier to deal with. Yeah, I guess I should have studied. Everyone's asking me all these questions. Christ almighty. 98 to 108. Yeah, okay, I was close. You know what we do here? Any questions I don't know the answer to, someone out there go on Google, get the answer, post the answer in the chat, and I'll say it so everyone can hear it, so in case I miss your message that way. See right here, you can see the big clods of soybean stubble or straw again. That is from that day I was combining and got rained out. And I shut her down for a little while and came back an hour or so later and finished this piece. So. Do you have a bush hog? No, I don't have a bush hog. Not much for mowing like that around here, so to have to go and mow like that. So. No, we don't bale soybean straw. I don't know if, well, I don't need it, and I don't really know if there's anyone that buys it, so. I like to try to get it all incorporated in because it is good tilth. It's just kind of a pain in the ass this year because of how wet it was last fall. The chopper didn't really chop it, more or less just spread it. But gardens, yeah, we do have gardens. We grow corn in it, peas, beans, radishes, onions, tomatoes, sunflowers for the birds to eat, everything. Watermelons. Major farm equipment purchase. Oh, well, if we're gonna talk quite a few years down the road or something, the next thing I would maybe buy if I found a deal or had some money would be like an 8-inch by 40-foot Westfield auger, like just a truck loading auger with a mover on it. But a few years down the road, like I said, bigger four-wheel drive, 9880 or something along those lines. Maybe a swather. I was looking at a 1203 Case IH, but I don't know. I keep pondering what the right call is with them or not. I like them, but I don't like the honeybee headers on them. So I keep second guessing what that guy would do, a MacDon or what. I know MacDon is a superior header, but they cost a hell of a lot more too. Stick to a MacDon, but I know of a 2012 1203. It's only got 500 hours on it, and they want 50,000 for it. A fuck of a deal. Yeah, honeybee is made in Canada, but yeah, they are not the best. How many acres do we farm 2,000 acres, sir, roughly, and about 500 acres of hay, depending on the year. Yeah, MacDon's made in Canada as well. I'm not sure where their home base is though. I think it's Winnipeg, isn't it? Huh, I'm not sure. Have to look that up. And I know Honeybee is out by Swift Current is where their home base is. Yeah, I know Tyson hates his Honeybee, but those fucking John Deere, the tractor units, those swathers are the worst part of it. Those things are junk. I know there are quite a few people that have had them around here, and what horrible pieces of garbage. Okay, Winnipeg, that's what I thought. How many generations have we been farming? I would be the third generation here, and the town over there you can see, when it was founded, that's land that my ancestors actually gave to the father and the brothers and the nuns when they came here. So I think the farm here is 130 years we've been here. So that's the original homestead, is over there at that yard. There's a rock with a plaque on it. And then brothers come over here. So or like one brother farmed there and the other one moved here, and the one that moved over here is my relations. So
What it takes, you have
and then hopefully my little guy wants to farm, so he'll be number 4 anyways. So
exclusive to or anyone else got to hear it, and owners, just so cool. Also, there's been really great feedback from you on the song, so thank you. Now what you gotta do is show that little.
yeah, that's when they gave that to them there. This the land in this area here, these fields are kind of a fuckaroo of a thing. The actual quarter line is at the edge of these trees here. But we farm, I forget how many feet north up to where the fence line is, just because of how things got divided up by the brothers and or the family there way back. And that's how it's kind of stayed ever since. So we own a few feet of that quarter, so, but makes it kind of interesting when you do your hail insurance trying to explain that to them. But just about done. I got 17 acres left across the way, and that'll be it for the cultivating anyways. Well, with this cultivator. Then I've got a quarter I want to spike, but I have to fix it because the spindle and the hub are no good on it anymore. You can't keep the wheel bearing tight on it, so I'm going to have to put a new one on. Town am I closest to? That would be Bellegarde is the hamlet over there. Alberta is that, you're going to help harvest that. Yeah, the metropolis of Elgard. All, what, like 100 people? She's handling it like a dream, the old 35 foot Culivator. On 7.5 miles an hour, 2 inches deep. When we started, we were at 3/4 of a tank. We burned half a tank on 57 acres, so doing good anyway. Running cool, air conditioners blowing cold. She's a nice day anyway. Southeast North Dakota still haven't melted. Our foot of snow from Thursday got rain today. You're gonna have good moisture for seeding anyways. Yeah, the home quarter here is the one of the best ones. It's had 130 years of cattle manure spread on it, so it's really, really good land. And there's no sloughs or low spots, it's just back and forth for the 97 acres here, so. Ha ha ha, Chad, you're a funny guy. It's not hanging out of the fucking window. Those pictures that if you Google Earth it of the farm they're easily 15 years old since they've updated those, so you can see there's still cattle in the pasture and everything, so. What part of the province? The southeastest corner of Saskatchewan is you can get just about 5 minutes from Manitoba and about 45 minutes from the US of A, so there we go. Done. This one anyway. It's Antoine, your brother, and no, he's my best friend since preschool, so not related at all. What size shovels? Those are 16-inch sweeps. Yeah, the Google Earth, you won't see my house on it. It's not there yet, it's still just pasture. My house has only been there for 3 years, so. There's no gravel pile yet either there, Dwight, so probably not. I had to come with the 50-20 and push those in there. Fell out into the field, but cultivated that again. It always gets really, really packed right by the yard here. Every time we bring something big into the yard, we turn around in the field here. So it always ends up getting the shit packed out of it. The wires in the cab are ones I've just added in here. I've got a bit of a disaster going on because it's all the wires. I got my phone charger and everything up here because my phone's plugged in while I live stream, or else it would go dead. And then I've got a wire from the XM going there, one running up to the radio, and then one that goes outside. So that mess is all just because of the XM. The rest of it's nice and coiled up on the floor, so. Anyway, I forgot. I can't fold my wings up right now because Antoine stole my adapters. I might have to run down and steal those from him, I guess. So I guess that's where we're gonna end this. He's got the, this cultivator's got Pioneer ends on it for the versatiles, because they're the ones that usually pull it. So I've got Pioneer to John Deere adapters, but since he's harrowing, there's Pioneer on the harrows too. So he stole a set off of this because I didn't need my wings. But now that I gotta move, I kind of need those adapters. So I'm gonna have to go steal those from him so I can get my wings folded up. So I guess we'll end the live stream here, and there's gonna be a video coming tonight here when at the usual time. So I guess if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you get the notification when the video is up. And I guess that's where we're gonna end it for now. So anyway, I guess you guys hit the like button, and we'll talk to you guys in the next live stream, I guess. So thanks for hanging out for an hour, and we'll see you guys later.